Mom, can you stand up for me right quick?
Yes.
I love you, Mama.
You good. You done it.
I thank my mentors for all that they have done for me. They did a lot for me. I love them. They taught me great things. Like they said, I wasn't complaining, even though like when I was with Mr. Lanier, because he's one of my mentors for the 100, every time when we would do, every time we would do something good, like fun, just like when we went out to that dinner, and we stayed up till like almost 11. I tried going to sleep. I was like, in the passenger seat, I was like, Miss Lanier, I'm gonna go to sleep. He's like, no, you gonna stay up. You gonna keep me company. I'm like, And then Mr. Kirkland, we do fun stuff too. He helped me with golf. Like every time I like make a good golf swing, he'd be like, that's my boy, good job.
You good? I got it.
I almost dropped my award too. That scared me.
We got you.
And then Mr. Everett over here, he took us to the African American Museum. He was cool with him. We used to go to America's Best too. It would put a lot on my stomach. And then Mr. Lamont, I don't really know you well, but you're just a cool guy.
Take this.
Wait. One more. All right, I was pressed for this. I'm gonna put this on real quick.
You're good.
I'm a star!
That's some phenomenal youthful energy, isn't it? What would we do to get that back? Woo! This last award is a little different. It's special. You know, we all put in a lot of time, energy, and effort into the kids, into making sure that our chapter runs exceptionally well. And like any well-oiled machine, sometimes you run out of oil and you run into a little chink, but it's always somebody there to fill the oil reservoir back up and keep it running smooth again. And this next award is called the Presidential Culture Award, and it's an award that I get to pick. And this award is given to one who consistently exhibits selfless commitment to the chapter through kind deeds, gestures, and volunteerism. Their boundless energy and passion to serve is commendable. They've unselfishly committed time, intellectual capital, personal resources while inspiring members to engage in the spirit of volunteerism at a different level. Their service and dedication has profoundly impacted the chapter, our mentees, and the community we serve. We, the 100 Black men of Prince George's County, would like to thank you for your significant contributions to our chapter. And sometimes when the oil reservoir gets low, this gentleman fills it up. He fills it up selfishly. His passion for this chapter is unmatched. Mike Lanier, time is unmatched. All right. But this gentleman's passion is unmatched. Fareed Singletary is Presidential Culture Award. Where's Fareed? He's out doing something. He's out filling the reservoir. He's getting a can of oil right now. Fareed, is he outside? Can you get him, please, Creech? And, you know, we all put in work. We all do work. And this gentleman, he's in the background. You just don't even know he exists until he shows up at a meeting and we start talking about membership. And you hear his passion come out just from all kinds of places. And it's people like that just keep us moving. Some of us are in the front and other of us are in the back. And what's more important than the people in the back, not the people in the front, because the people in the back are the people that really, really keep the machine moving. And people like me get to show up in a bow tie and talk. Really? I'm just a representative of these fabulous men that do well. They do well in the community. They consistently work. They consistently put their time, gifts, and talents to work for these young men on a regular and consistent basis. So Fareed's out working somewhere. We're going to give this to Fareed. And we want to thank you for coming out and supporting us. The mission is a never-ending mission. We're here, and I just want all of you to know that somebody gave you a hand up, a hand out, a lift up, a foot up, a leg up. That's the reason why we had the ability to pay $125 to sit here. I don't know about y'all, I'm from West Baltimore, and my mother's sitting right over there. We didn't have a $225 to buy brunch. But that's a place where we are at this point in our lives, and I want us to be recognized, and let's reach out and give something back to somebody else, because somebody gave us, as I said, a hand up, a leg up, a foot up, some kind of up.
So Fareed's working.
So Fareed's working. We're going to take care of this for Fareed. Thank you guys so much.
No.
All the recipients, please come up. Recipients.
All the award recipients.
Please come up for a quick photo. Bring the award, please. All the recipients. Right here. Right here? Yes.
Don't drop it, okay? Good job, proud of you. What's the name? It's wide, okay? Keep up the good work.
Good afternoon. Today is a day for both honor and gratitude for the life of a trusted and dear friend, mentor, founding member, and brother of our beloved 100 Black Men of Prince George's County chapter, the Honorable Judge William D. Missouri. Judge Missouri, or as Billy D, as I affectionately called him. His fingerprints are on the very pillar of this chapter, by which is the foundation. All of us in the 100 are the beneficiaries of his vast experience, wisdom, drive, and commitment to excellence. He was resolute and insisting that the Brotherhood uphold our founding fathers' mission and principles to serve the communities with integrity, dignity, compassion, honor, and respect. Those are the values that Judge Missouri based his life upon, and those are the values that we, as members of the 100, build into our young people and the communities to ensure that they indeed are what they see is what they'll be. It is my high honor and great privilege to introduce the inaugural annual Honorable Judge William D. Missouri Scholarship Award. If Dolores, Missouri could join me here on the podium, as well as the executive team and our national chairman, Tommy Deutsch, if you can join us as well. Judge Missouri's legacy impacted our communities in many wonderful and powerful ways. And if you had to stand before him in his courtroom, well, your life was going to be impacted as well. Because Judge Missouri was unwilling to compromise the standards or the law, the recipients of the Honorable Judge William D. Missouri Scholarship Award must live up to the legacy of its namesake. Those will be big shoes to fill, but Judge Missouri would take great comfort in knowing that the recipient of his scholarship will be constantly growing and filled. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you our chapter president, Emerick Peace, to award our mentee of the year with the inaugural scholarship award, the Honorable Judge William D. Missouri Scholarship Award.
So I got a scholarship now. Thank you. I don't know. Like, this is my first scholarship. I thank the 100 very, very much.
Let me just thank everybody for turning out today. These are my brothers, and for the men in this room who invest so much into the communities, because we understand we would not be where we are had it not been for those who invested in us. So we want to just thank each of you for your investment. No matter how small or how large, you make a difference, because the young people you see here today, these are the products of the hours and hours and hours that are invested by these men, and the types of investments we make throughout this nation and in England and in the Caribbean islands. So we want to thank you. When people ask where are the black men and where are the men from our communities, you can turn to the 100 black men of all of our chapters, and not to forget our fraternities who are out there. Black men are out here making a difference, but we need more men from our young men. So thank you for your investment. We got to keep them from going from the pipeline into the prisons, into the colleges, into business and careers. And it's up to us, not on anybody else's watch, but the watch of our communities, to make a difference. If we don't do it, nobody else will. So let's thank the men of Prince George's County for their great work. And here, as we say, what they see, they will be. Well, the bottom line, they'll be like these great men you've seen and throughout this audience. Young brothers, we thank you for allowing us into your lives. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Cooper. I have the honor. I have the honor of being on the board of directors of the organization. I'm also one of the founding members, and I'm also a product of the organization. When I was at Howard University many years ago, luckily to the DC chapter of the 100, I got interactions with the collegiate programs at Howard. And so I got involved with this chapter here. Before we close the program with some brief remarks from Roland, we know we're a little bit behind schedule. I just want to remind everyone that we are having the VIP reception immediately after this event on the rooftop It's enclosed doors, so you won't be wet. But upstairs, bottomless mimosas, open bar, lots of appetizers, a lot of fun. Network with some of the attendees here. For anyone who did not buy a ticket already, but you donated $100 or more earlier, you're invited to the VIP reception. So please come join us. Bring a receipt, but come join us nonetheless. But real quickly, I have the honor of introducing someone who I've gotten to know a little bit over the last year and a half. He invited me multiple times onto his show. How many of you guys watch Roland Martin News One now? Anyone? Come on. We missed him, I know. But he's still online doing acting, he's here today. But he invited me on the show so many times, so it's an honor for me to kind of reverse the roles. And now I get to invite him onto the stage here for my nonprofit. So without further ado, we're going to bring to the stage Roland Martin.
All of you here. I'm shocked all y'all showed up with everybody else trying to watch some wedding that went on today. Ain't no way in hell I was going to wake up that early to watch somebody else get married. That ain't going to happen. Not at 3 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't get up to see my sister get married at 3 o'clock in the morning. But glad to be here, glad to see all the brothers and sisters here. Glad to chat with my man Tommy Dortch. Also earlier, before I speak, let me also say this here to some people. Let me warn some people. Don't come talking trash to the speaker before he speaks. Because I got the microphone. So this brother, Van Jones, where you at? Van, where you at, Van? Van's a Lil Mega. Lil. And Van was talking stuff. First of all, he got me really confused. He said I was a capper. I said, don't get yourself cussed down. And then he started talking. I was like, Van, this not going to end well because I talk later. I got the microphone later. You're going to get called out later. So I had to let him know, and I had to show him. And then, because, he ain't hopped in about 30 years because he said he got bad knees and bad hips and everything like that. And so I told him, I said, right, that's the most you can do. That's the most he can do is just wave his arms. That's it. That's it. Tommy, you should have warned him. I get paid to talk. Why would he mess with me? And so I told Van I was going to call him out. So to all the young brothers, just go ahead and just write down Alpha right now. That's all you got to do. That's Alpha, and then there are you, Bruce. So, but I told you I was going to mess with you, Van. So again, I see y'all cackling over there. Don't start. I'm gonna get on y'all too. And remember, I got 2 million social media followers. They will know every single one of y'all name tomorrow with your mug shots, including you, Ron Busby. I don't mind Kappas. I get y'all confused with Delta, same colors. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Did I let that slip? My bad. See, y'all should have stayed quiet over there. Sigmas and Iotas, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Let me go ahead and we always do this. If some people can't handle it, Greek does, and it's all good. But let me go ahead and get to this, and I really want to focus on this because it really is critically important in terms of where we are today. Who in here knows the significance of the year 2043? The significance of the year 2043. Any of y'all know the significance of 2043? Any young folks up here? Yes. What you got? He said you'd be 43 years old. Okay, all right. That's fine. Factually correct. What you got? What you got?
Is that going to be like the 100th year of the 100 Black Men?
You said with the 100 year, 100 black men. No, that's not it. That's not, but it's all good. All good. The significance of 20, you can't talk because you're going to tear something up. I don't know how he went from I'm nervous to just give me the mic. That just contrasts. 2043 is significant because in the year 2043, it will be the year when America is a majority people of color country. That's 25 years. But if you look at where we stand today for African Americans, 2043 for us will look like South Africa today, in that you will have people of color who are the majority in America, but the majority of wealth in America will still be held by white Americans. Now, I'm saying that because when you look at where we stand educationally, when you look at the wealth gap in this country, when you look at the housing issue in this country, what we have to understand is that numerical numbers are one thing, but the question is, how are we properly positioned to take advantage of that when it happens? Which means that in the next 4 to 5 years, those who will be graduating from college in 2043 will be born in the next 3 to 4 years. And I'm putting this in this context because I need folks to understand that all of the decisions that we make today are going to have a direct impact on what our community will look like in 2043. And so we may have, you may have said, well, I gave $10,000 or $2,500 or $5,000 or $500 or $100 or $50, but do understand that what you actually did was make a down payment or an investment in what you expect to have a rate of return in the next 25 years. Talk to any financial planner. They will tell you that if you set money aside today and then you leave it in an account, it will grow over a period of time. And so in the next 15, 20, 25 years, it will be this amount if you leave it there and invest it wisely, which means that the money that we invest, the time that we invest today, if it is done right, if it is in the right place, then we expect it to grow, and then we should be able to cash out in 25 years. What I'm trying to say is that, let me make it plain, there's some of you who are sitting in this room today. You're only sitting in this room because somebody made an investment in your future 20, 25, 30, 35 years ago. They may no longer still be on this earth, but they said, I need to make sure you are going to have a life, the kind of life that you want later on. Now maybe some of y'all still are a bit confused. Think about what your mama and your daddy was doing, or your grandmother and your grandfather were doing some 20, 30, 40, and 50 years ago. You could not be sitting even in this hotel had some folk not did some stuff. See, don't forget, Thurgood Marshall could not even go to the law school at this university, yet here we stand in 2018 sitting in the very hotel ballroom of a university that denied the great Thurgood Marshall an opportunity for him to even go to law school. We are here because there are some folks who made an investment. And we have to think about it in those terms, because what we do today, every action that we take must be deliberate. When I say deliberate, I mean literally every single action. See, when I look at the fact that I have no kids, but I've raised 6 of my nieces, every action that I have taken with them has been. See, the look itself said, you've lost your mind. But she understood that because she saw me reading, then she said, you know, I might want to think of something different. And so every action I took was deliberate. The same thing happens. How many brothers in here, and either you still go to the barbershop, but you might go not as frequently as you used to go, and some folk don't go at all based upon what I'm seeing out in the room. It's all good. It happens. It's all good. Because I tell you what, somebody said, well, Roland, what about your hair? I said, yeah, I had a head full of hair. I was broke. I'll take less hair today than a full hair because I was broke then, not now. But how many of you have gone to the barbershop and you've had conversations and brothers have been talking about sports, and they've been talking about how somebody's performing and how a brother plays, but when's the last time you heard somebody ask the question, young man, what are you reading? See, just think about that very question. Think about how many of you go to church every single Sunday. You go to Bible study and you pass young folks all the time. How often have you asked them the question, what are you reading? And not just what are you reading in the classroom, what are you reading outside of the classroom? See, I'm saying this because I want all of us to understand that our future as a people will be determined by what we do today. Not by what we do as individuals, but by what we do as a collective. Do me a favor, in the back of that backpack, grab Dr. King's book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. And the reason I'm going to read something for you because it was 51 years ago when Dr. King actually, the other book, that's Gerald Horne's book on the Negro Associated Press. As you see, I always have books with me. That's it right there. It's very simple, folks. Dr. King wrote a book 51 years ago, which was actually his worst-selling book. The last year of his life was a tumultuous one when he began to oppose the Vietnam War. So he wrote the book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, where he literally laid out the blueprint in terms of what we could expect in the future as a race. In this book, he talked about, he said it didn't cost America much to allow us to be able to come into hotels, to swim in swimming pools, to go in the parks. He said, but the real question is, will America write that large check to right its previous wrongs? See, we are 1 year away from commemorating the 400th anniversary of the 20-odd Africans arriving in Virginia in 1619. We'll be focusing on that next year. When you think about 243 years of slavery, 12 years of Reconstruction, 92 years of Jim Crow, which was slavery without shackles. Let me put this in perspective. African Americans have really only been technically fully free Americans for 48 years. Because prior to 1970, we literally locked out America, frozen out of everything, and we've only been able to be able to do what we've done for the last 48 years. And so in Where Do We Go From Here, the King says clearly what has to happen. Earlier you heard Tommy mention fraternities and sororities. He mentioned the importance of 100 black men. But let me read for you what Dr. King said, which really, I think, jumps out. He said, quote, "There are already structured forces in the Negro community that can serve as the basis for building a powerful united front. First, he says the Negro church. Then he says the Negro press. Then he says the Negro fraternities and sororities and Negro professional associations. But then this is the King that you don't quite hear about, because Dr. King has been turned into America's civil rights mascot as some little bobblehead figure we put on the shelf every single year and say, oh my God, he was just so nice and so wonderful, and he just loved everybody as if he was not a militant revolutionary. He said this: we must admit that these forces have never given their full resources to the cause of Negro liberation. There are still too many Negro church leaders that are so absorbed in a future good over yonder that they condition their members to adjust to the present evils over here. Too many Negro newspapers have veered away from their traditional role as protest organs agitating for social change and have turned to the sensational and the conservative in place of the substantive and the militant. If I brought that present day, what he was saying is we have too many black media websites focused on gossip and entertainment and not news and information. He then says too many Negro social and professional groups have degenerated into snobbishness and a preoccupation with frivolities and trivial activity. He was calling out our associations. And when we look at where we stand, when you look at fraternities and sororities numbering more than 2 million, when you look at the Boule, when you look at 100 Black Men, when you look at Ladies of Distinction, when you look at the Links, we have these massive organizations where we gather, where we meet, where we wear colors, where we buy artifacts, where we gather, where we take pictures. But the question is, how have we truly changed our community and prepared it for the future? So the real challenge for us leaving here is not to say, hey, we had a great program, we gave some great awards, those young men did a great job. No, the challenge for us should be, when we come back next year, what will we say that we accomplished in the previous 364 days? Because, see, I need folk in this room to understand that nobody is going to save us but us. There is no cavalry that is on its way across the ocean or across the skies or the land or whatever. Ain't nobody coming to save us. We're living in an America where you can be black and not even sit and wait on a cup of coffee at a Starbucks. We're living in an America where you can be a brother dressed to go to the prom and you will be attacked at a Waffle House. We're living in an America where you can't even barbecue at a public park without somebody calling the cops on you. And so knowing full well what is happening across this country, that means that our collective organizations are going to have to do more. That means that if we've been unwilling to welcome in a new generation of leaders, some folk need to move aside and allow them to come in, because you can't keep running stuff if you don't have any breath to run. At some point, whether we're talking about politics or business or economics or academia, we're going to have to make some substantive critical changes to change what is happening in our community. We're going to actually have to take the time to actually build up and invest in somebody else. And when we talk about mentoring, see, I believe in the Elijah model. And that is that I'm going to sit here and see something in somebody. And I'm going to say, look, if you want to keep up with me, you can get a double portion of my anointing, but you better be there when I go up to heaven, which means that you got to do some stuff if you're the mentee. See, what has happened is too many of us, frankly, have been dancing around this thing, and we have been focused on just ourselves without realizing that our impact can be far greater than it is right now. Had somebody come to me and they said, brother, don't you, actually this happened several times. In fact, it was years ago when I was on Monique's show, when it was on BET. She said, you say stuff on TV and I'm afraid you're going to get fired. I said, well, first of all, Monique, I start every job with the premise I'm going to get fired anyway. I said, because there's nothing worse than two things. There's nothing worse for me than two things on the job. Somebody who don't say nothing, go there early, stay late, scared, timid, you get laid off anyway, now you're at home mad. Then you got that parking lot militant. Oh, they militant in the parking lot. But they don't say nothing, we on the inside. See, I'm going to say all I need to say while I'm there, so if I get fired, I'm at home like, look, I said everything I want to say while I was there, and so I'm good. The reason I'm saying that because none of us know when, not only is our time up on the job, none of us know when our time is up in this life. So the real question is, what are you doing with the time that you actually have? Just this week, here in Maryland, we buried Tara Jones, 44 years old, a sister who was involved in so many different areas. She was sitting at a meeting in Baltimore and succumbed to a heart attack. The night before on Facebook, she posted she was looking for a yard man. See, the impact of your life is based upon what you do. So when people ask me, they say, well, man, you know, you're not afraid of stuff. I said, no, I can't be afraid to say what somebody needs to say on television, because there's no guarantee somebody else is going to say it. And see, when I travel around this country and when I run into brothers who come to me and they say, man, I would take your show every day and me and my son would watch your show over dinner and talk about the issues you talked about. When I've run into people and they said, I chose to run for public office after being educated by watching you. When all of you turn on CNN and when you see Angela Rye and Paris Denard and Shermichael Singleton, and you see Paul Butler and Lauren Coates, and you see Scott Bolton and Monique Presley and Yodita Welday, those are all folk who I put on TV first. I'm saying that because how we use our position to change our community and change America will determine what our future looks like. And so I want to challenge every single one of us Whether we are 10, 11, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, or even 83, 85, that as long as there is breath in your body, you can still contribute. If there's no point in our lives where we have done all that we can do, because when you still see folks, and I have met them, who are 80 and 90, and they are working election polls, and they are registering people, and they are raising money, and they say, baby, I might not be able to drive that van, but trust me, I can grab somebody else's hand and walk them to the polls. If we are going to have a changed America, then it is going to be on us to change it. Dr. King said black folks are here to redeem the soul of America. We are here, he said, to make America be the nation it is on paper, not the nation it is in reality. And so when you leave here, I want to challenge every single one of you to answer the most basic, simple question: what am I prepared to do? I want to say to every young person on this stage, you might be sitting in a classroom right now and you have a classmate who you know is failing. Your responsibility is to go to that brother or sister and say, how can I help you not fail? Because see, you don't know who you might be saving in your classroom. You might be saving a future inventor, a future venture capitalist, a future CEO. You might be saving a future member of the 100 Black Men. And you cannot run around saying, I am my brother's keeper, if you don't keep your brother. The same thing goes for sisters. We are in this by ourselves. We are fighting forces who are scared to death that America is becoming a nation of black and brown. White fear is gripping America. Numbers don't lie. We're seeing it in the Oval Office. We're seeing it in state capitals. We're seeing it as laws being changed. We're seeing it in corporate America. We're seeing it as black ad agencies are going out of business because they're destroying multicultural firms. We're seeing it where they're destroying opportunities for black businesses all across this country because they say, look, you got a black president. We don't need that stuff anymore. We literally are seeing America say, enough is enough. Well, I dare say if we went through 351 years of sanctioned slavery and Jim Crow, only been free 48 years, America, you have not paid us back for all you've gotten for free. Leaving this event should cause every single one of us to redouble our efforts to say, whether it's the 100 Black Men, whether it's fraternities or sororities or men's groups at churches, whether it's a women's group, does not matter what it is, we have a responsibility to be the savior of our people. Dr. King said, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Only you can determine what that answer will be. Will it be chaos or will it be community? I suggest we make it community. And that means sometimes taking off our Cole Haans and Louboutins and putting on some overalls and getting to work.
So we're about to end here. We have just one more thing we need to do. Just a reminder that we do have a VIP reception going on. We got to be out by 3, so we're going to take about 5 more minutes. These students have been drawing over here for the whole show, if you've seen it. The 2 Bowie State freshmen. And we want to do right now. Yeah, we want to get up there. We really quickly want to do right now is sow back into their lives. And so they've been drawn to trying to progress the profession, and we're going to donate the proceeds of their painting auction back to their lives. And so it's going straight back to the students. And so I'm going to give Roland the mic here and do what he does.
All right. Okay, y'all, there's y'all painting. Okay, I need y'all to take it off the easel and walk it around the room. Come on. Come on, grab it. Come on, walk it down the center aisle. Walk down the center aisle. Walk to the people in the back. There's money back there too. That's right. Everybody get a look at it. Who wants to open up the auction bid? Give me a number. We'll start there.
500. 500.
Tommy Dorr starts at $500. Do I have $550? I got a $500, $550. And remember, the money is going to the 100 black men, which will give it to them so that becomes a tax write-off. Okay, yeah, trust me, I got that. Don't worry about it. So we got an opening bid of $500. Do we have $550? Anyone in the room for $550? Anyone in the room for $550? Anyone in the room for $550? Tommy Dorr has set the opening benchmark at $5. Don't let Tommy just outprice y'all. Really? $500 the opening bid for this piece of work here that these gentlemen literally drew as this program was going on. Is a Malcolm X, and today, of course, is the birthday of Malcolm X, born this day, 1925. Opening bid of $500. Look like Tommy might be going home with that drawing. Do we have $550? 500 going. I got $550 in the back right there. I got a $550. We got $600. Tommy's only $100 more. Tommy says $700. Brother in the back, you got $750? You got $750? I got $700. You got $750? All right, I got $700 going once. $700 going twice. Sold the Tommy Dorr for $700.